Happy Friday. Welcome back to Come Sis with me, the podcast, a movement fueled by the heart of women with a desire to experience genuine community that uplifts, empowers, and motivates one another on one common ground, sisterhood. I'm your host, Mia, and today we're talking about what sisterhood is, at least in my definition. And I wanted to start by sharing some of the responses, one of the responses that I got from the question that I posted from last week's upload, and then also my own definition of sisterhood. So I'll start with what I would say is the definition, and at least the definition that I use for Come Sis with me. That sisterhood is the bond and relationship between women who share common experiences, values, and goals. It's a community based on support, understanding, and compassion for one another. And it's fueled by authenticity, solidarity, and a mutual respect that fosters a sense of belonging, promotes unity, and focuses on the growth of each woman. It's a powerful force that can empower women and help them achieve their personal and collective goals. Now, that's the period end of the definition that I posted. Or that I have come up with, at least in my own journaling. But I think it also encompasses a lot of other things too, right? Like sisterhood is the conductor that helps you move from one place of helplessness to hope. It should be a place where it makes and creates safe spaces for women to be women, not for us to be mom or wife or entrepreneur, all of those things, but just for us to be women first, right? Like all of those things can separate us if we really let it. But being women is what unifies us, right? Which is part of the definition. It should be a place of light, right? It should not be heavy. Well, I guess we could say light in terms of light, like illuminating things that were in the dark to light, but it should feel light. It shouldn't be heavy. Sisterhood should promote a place where we should surrender lies and accept truth about who we really are, and are who we aren't, right? And not be a place where people have to pretend to be who they aren't, right? It's authentic. Sisterhood should promote authenticity. There should be truth behind the words and the actions that we speak when we're around our sisters. It shouldn't be a place. Sisterhood is the hood that you don't have to be false. You don't have to copy one another. You can be genuine. You can be real. You can be your authentic, antique, or authentic, fresh off the lot self, right? It's a reliable hood, right? Not like some of the other hoods that aren't so reliable. I don't even know. I can't even think of an example right now, but I'm sure if you think hard, you can figure it out. It's trustworthy. It's a hood of trustworthiness. And that's your responsibility as a sister to one another, is that we would be trustworthy. It should encourage obedience and discipline and growth. And we'll talk about what that may look like, but it should foster, it should focus on what joins us together, right? Which in some cases can be trauma. And I'll save that for later because that's a whole other topic in itself. But I want to talk about why there could be a concern with the trauma part. But let me share what one of our fellow Come Sis with Me listeners wrote as a response to, what does sisterhood mean to you? It was a question that I posted on the intro to this podcast. And she wrote, sticking together, holding each other accountable, holding non-judgmental space for each other to be ourselves, and creating fun memories. I love that. And I think it's very similar to the definition that I gave you, but in much shorter context. Right? There is a fun that should be a part of sisterhood. It should be a place where we stick together because we're women and we know what we go through in our bodies and our minds and our spirits. It's a place where we hold each other accountable. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. And it also should be non-judgmental, right? I should not feel judged when I share some of the things that I share with you. It should be a space where it's light to share what I have going on in my life. But nonetheless, right, some of the things that get in the way of sisterhood, and one of the things that I really wanted to talk about today was what sisterhood isn't. Okay, because I told you what it is in my definition. I shared with you some of the things that I think should be all encompassing when we talk about sisterhood and just being women. But what I think is going to be important as we take this journey from now to whenever, because I don't know. I don't know. You're on this ride with me, okay? I have no idea what it's going to look like. But what I think is important for me to share is what sisterhood is not. And one of the biggest complaints that I feel are misconceptions that women have when it comes to sisterhood is they confuse it with friendship. And sistership and friendship are different. Sisterhood and friendship are separate. Friendship comes as a result of proving that you can walk alongside someone as their sister. That could be a period. I don't even really need to go much further than that, right? But I will, because it wouldn't be me if I did. Sisterhood should be a non-negotiable in all women's lives. Friendship is not a non-negotiable. I don't have to be your friend in order to be your sister, because what separates us could be a multitude of things, right? But what joins us is that we are women in sisterhood. So friendship requires some other things. But I want to talk about like different areas of commitment in someone's life. I'm going to call it the 5 A's of sisterhood. And I kind of stole it from my sister / friend, Lily, who's an amazing creative. And I'm just going to say that I've been blessed to have a multitude of women in my life who have been a blessing to me. But Lily and I shared a bond surrounding sisterhood because this was actually a point in our relationship that we had to discuss and really come to terms with, like, are we friends or are we just sisters? But in talking with each other about what sisterhood looked like and what friendship looked like, she came up with these 5 terms. And I'm going to share them with you because I think they're amazing. And I actually share it in my therapy sessions with clients, with women who come and they're complaining about different aspects of their lives and their relationships. And I'm like, oh, well, sis, that's probably because so-and-so was this. But anyway, let me get into it. So it's the 5 A's of sisterhood. Okay. And it's advisors, accountability, A1 day one, acquaintances, and assignments. And let me just explain to you in advance that you could be more than one of these things, but you have to be at least one in order for there to be some sort of relationship between you and another person. So, advisors direct you without any regard for your specific situation, needs, or passions in an attempt to offer strategies about events which may or may not be followed by the receiver. They typically have more or deeper knowledge in a subject area or expertise. So, if someone is an advisor to you or you're an advisor to them, you really don't have a connection or a responsibility to them other than to share just what you know, like the knowledge that you have in an area or expertise that you have in the area. It's different from a mentor though, because mentors actually care about where you're going. And I'm not saying that advisors don't care. They just don't have a level of, they don't have a margin. They don't have the margin in their life, and they don't have a margin in their relationships. They don't have margin to acknowledge where you're going and set and be on that path with you to get to that goal, right? They have no regard for like where you're going. Their only responsibility as an advisor to you would be to share what they know and to share what potentially their wisdom, right? Like what I know, and these are the decisions that I've made, the strategies. I've been here in this in this area before. They may not even be on the same path as you. They don't have to share in the same passions or needs. Like you guys have nothing in common other than you need to know what this person already knows or what this person has already made decisions about. They're an advisor. Sometimes what happens is because someone has knowledge in an area that you have a specific passion about, you can become intertwined with them, are so enamored with them that you see them more as a friend than they actually are. This is why it's important to know where a person stands and what the relationship actually is. I'll move on to accountability. An accountability partner is someone who supports you or supports another person to keep a commitment or maintain progress on a desired goal. It's in a level of trust will be established in this relationship. So an accountability partner also is not a friend, right? They're not your friend. They are your sister who is willing to see you through to a desired goal because they've created that margin in their life, and they have either through their words or through their actions committed that they would be on this path with you. And so there's a level of trust that you guys have now established because as you're walking on this path, they've honored their commitment by showing up for you in different areas, right? So they're an accountability partner. Still not your friend though, right? But definitely your sister, right? Because they're willing to create this space in their life to make sure that you, their sister, gets to this end goal. I'm going to skip past A1D1 because I feel like everybody knows that one, but I'm going to come back to it in a little bit. Acquaintance. An acquaintance is a person that you know slightly, but not a close friend, right? So you may want to hang out with this person because they're really fun, right? But you really are somebody at work. They're really cool at work, right? So you guys go hang out, but they're not a close friend. You're not going to call them with your life's story. You're not going to call them about your marriage. You're not going to call them about your single. Like you're just not going to call them about certain things. They're just really fun to hang out with, right? Or they have something that they offer that is really appealing to you, right? And so maybe they're not somebody that you keep around all the time, but they're good for this thing, right? An acquaintance. A1 day ones though, they know you. You know them. You love them. They love you. They trust you. You trust them. Y'all done been through some stuff with each other, and you done had several knockdown, drag out fights, and they just ain't going nowhere. Like you're not going nowhere. They're not going anywhere. They've been there for a long time, and you guys are going to see each other to the end, right? Like there's no disconnecting of that relationship. And then there's assignments. And woe to this A. Because I feel like I left this one for last because this is where we get in trouble. Assignments from the Webster's dictionary, because I couldn't really find one when it comes to relationships, but I'm going to explain to you what it looks like in a relationship. Assignments are a task or a piece of work assigned to someone as part of a job or course of study. the task or post to which one has been appointed. You don't know how many times I have heard or been a part of a situation where someone who was supposed to be an assignment was friended, and then both the people are upset and or hurt because the relationship didn't turn out the way they wanted it to. So I can talk about this in terms of ministry. So sometimes you hear this a lot in terms of ministry, right? Like someone will come to you with a concern and you guys bond over that concern, right? But it's still technically not a friendship because the person who is the assignment is sucking literally the life out of the other person. They are needy. That it's not a relationship that is feeding or what's the proper term? It's not giving. You're not giving and receiving. You're literally just giving. In assignments, that is what you're supposed to do. If someone is an assignment, you are supposed to just give. It can be in ministry, it can be work and business, it can be bonding with someone who has already gone through something that you have, or is going through something that you've already gone through, or that you're still in, right? And assuming that they are supposed to be your A1 day one, or they're supposed to be an acquaintance, or they're supposed to be a friend when they're really just supposed to be an assignment. The importance of knowing the 5 A's of sisterhood is because if you don't know which category your relationships fall in, or that you fall in, you make the mistake of trying to friend a sister who is unavailable or uninterested. And then we're hurt because that person who you want to create something with that is not there is not available. And so people are like, oh, I can't get along with women because they're just too hard. Well, maybe it's not that they're too hard. Maybe the issue is that you didn't understand your role. So my question would be, do you know what category you and your relationships fall in? Because that's important to distinguish between sisterhood and friendship. Another thing about friendship is that it requires a level of intentionality. For you guys that don't know me personally, I live 9 months out of the year in a completely different country on the other side of the world. That is, for most of the people who I know and love, a 12 plus hour difference. So when it's nighttime, it's daytime for me. When it's daytime for them, it's nighttime for me. And that requires a level of intentionality on both of our parts that, if I'm honest, in some seasons has been really hard for me. Navigating time zones was something that I feel like I do in a superior fashion, but for some seasons has been literally the thing that tears me apart, because I know that there needs to be some level of communication and responsibility on my part that I just didn't have the energy for. And as a result, my friendship suffered with some people that I had to then regain trust with them. I had to regain some of the things that were lost because there wasn't a level of connection and intentionality on my part. And so you can't, friendships require that. Sisterhood does not, right? Like you can duck in and out of sisterships anytime you want, because there's not a responsibility, that there's not the same level of responsibility. Again, I'll go back to the definition. Like the responsibility that you have as a sister to others is that you will share in what is the commonality between the two of you, that you'll be authentic. So if you don't have time, you say, hey, I don't have time, right? But you're still compassionate. You're still understanding. You support when necessary, when needed. if you have the ability to do so, right? You stand in solidarity that women are women and they go through things, and that I'm a woman and I understand that, and I have a mutual respect for one another, so that people don't feel isolated and outside of what should actually be bringing us together. It is a place, your responsibility is to empower women, but it's not to befriend all of them. It doesn't mean that you literally have to be friends with every woman that you come in contact with because you are women, right? That's get this if you get nothing else. I'm not saying that the Come Sis with me is a place where women are all going to become besties, because I'm not best friends with everyone. I'm unique and different, and there are a select few women that can really take on Mia. Don't get this wrong, I'm a great freaking friend, okay? But there's only so many women in my life who can like really say, I got Mia. I understand her. She's my friend. Because I live on the other side of the world. I'm also eclectic in many different facets, and there's some quirks about me that people just have to get used to sometimes, right? One of my really close friends, who has we have both not been communicating with each other as much as we should, right? But we love each other. So at the end of the day, but when we first met, we did not like each other. It's like a theme with my best friends at this point, like that most of my friends didn't like me when they first met me. It's a thing that sometimes you have to overcome. But what helps you overcome that is the next thing that's required in friendship, which is transparency. That is not required in sisterhood, right? The difference between authenticity and transparency is that transparency is how much you share, while authenticity is the truth behind your words and the actions that you share, right? So authenticity is a non-negotiable in real authentic sisterhood. Transparency is not. I don't need you to tell every woman all of your stuff. You don't have to be transparent in that fashion. But what you do tell, you need to be authentic. You need to say what you mean and mean what you say. I guess I hate that some people, we have taken and used that and run with it. Because now when you actually want to say it, like to make a point, like bring a point home, it's all cliche. Get this though, right? Like that you need to be authentic in order for people to see you for who you are, not who you portray to be. That's where the safety in sisterhood comes from. But I don't need you to be transparent with every single Tina, Lisa, Sharon, Michelle that you come in contact with, right? Like you don't need to tell them all your business. And I think that's another topic too that we could discuss. But you don't need to do all of that, because what happens in transparency in sisterhood without actually fostering a friendship is that then you start to bond, that trauma bond. And trauma bonding is when you and another person have gone through very similar traumas, if not the same, and you bond over the grief and the turmoil that you both have gone through, right? So you're being authentic in your feelings and the hurt, and you're being overly transparent with someone who you have not categorized, right? Because you don't know if they're assignment, an acquaintance, an A1 day one, an accountability partner, or an advisor yet, because you haven't really got into anything with them other than understanding that you guys both went through this trauma, right? So when you start to grow apart, because one, you guys probably weren't supposed to be friends, or you're growing out of this relationship, you start to feel rejected, because growth feels like rejection when you're bonded by trauma. So you need to steward what you have, and not what you're longing for, or not what you're, or foster what you have and not what you're longing for that you don't have. Okay, so we don't make a friend out of someone because of trauma. when they are just supposed to walk alongside of you as an accountability partner, or that person is supposed to be your assignment, right? Like, oh, you've gone through the same trauma, but the things that you have instilled in you, the strengths that you've gained from either the process that you've taken to heal, or the different actions that you have taken to walk through what you've walked through, can help that person now do the same thing. Or what I mean by stewarding what you have is the friends that you already have around you. You're looking for new friendships because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing in the friendships that you actually have. So you're like, oh, it's going to be better if I get this new friend who understands me because we've been through the same trauma. Not true. Just going to lay that out. Or you're longing for what you don't have. Like, oh, I really want this friend, and so I'll make this person my friend because I don't already have it in my life. Don't do that. So that is the difference between authenticity and transparency. Oh wait, there's another part too. So intentionality in your approach. So please honor the place that you are in and the place that they are in. Sisterhood should be healing. It shouldn't be harmful. So when you make women your friends because you've either trauma bonded or you've mistaken what category they actually belong in, without actually doing the work that is required intentionally in friendship, now you're becoming a hurtful, harmful place. You're no longer safe because, yeah, you may be transparent about what you're going through. Yeah, you may share a lot of the things, but you're not being authentic. You're not sharing like what's really happening, which is 9 times out of 10, you want something that person has that you don't already have, right? It could be in friendships. It can be in whatever that person is spiritually, whatever that person is physically. Just know, like, be intentional in your approach. Be honest with yourself. Why would I want to make this sister my friend rather than just be a sister to this person? And let's be real. Friendships need to have time together. So you can't just say, oh yeah, I'm going to be your friend because we know each other. I don't have, let me think before I say this. I may have 1 or 2 women who I could say are my friends. Nope, I can't. I can't say it. I don't have any friends who I've never met in person. Even if our relationship started online and started through some sort of virtual experience, I have been intentional about making time for them in person. I don't care if they're 15 states away from me, or in my case, on the other side of the world. If they are my friend or someone who I want to be a friend with, and we've been transparent about who we are in each other's lives and where we're going, I make time. I will get on a plane. I will get on a train. We will figure it out because we need to have time together in order to be friends with one another. So that's my spew on the difference between sisterhood and friendship, because this is what I think can be misconstrued and then turn into, oh, another podcast about sisterhood, another podcast about women being friends. This is not what this is, sis. I'm not telling you to go be friends with everyone. Know this, okay? But I do think that there are things that get in the way of sisterhood, and that's one of them. Confusing friendship with sistership. The other one is the difference between being a sister and someone's mother. So I just want to throw a trigger warning here and a disclaimer that when speaking about the role of mother, I am very aware that one or many of you may have wounds that have yet to heal over the mother or mothers in your life. So please know that this space is still very much for you, but I want you to take a moment to assess if your heart needs to feel that in this moment, or if you need to take a break from this podcast, from this episode. Either way, I'm available after this podcast if you want to talk about what healing may look like for that mother wound that you're experiencing. But I also want to make space for you in this moment and allow you to take the time away if you need it. So I'll just give you a second to think about it. And then I'll continue on with my discussion about being a mother and being a sister. Okay. So if you're still here, I am assuming that you understand that there is a huge difference between being a mother and a sister. But yet sometimes we misconstrue the two, and that can also cause wounds for our sisters. All right. So let me just start with this because I really had a hard time with distinguishing between the two. I'm not gonna lie, because I am the oldest of several siblings, right? Most of them girls, females, women, sisters. And I have notoriously been called like pseudo mom, right? Because I naturally have gravitated to this space where I want to tell them what to do and have these whole judgments for their lives, and feel responsible when they make mistakes, and just want to like protect them and take care of them when that's not my responsibility. So I'll start there because I went through kind of the list of my own personal issues with overstepping my boundaries as a sister. But responsibility is mothers tend to the needs of their children, and they ensure that they have the things needed for them to live, like literally breathe. I have said this multiple times to multiple women, mothers, who have talked about just being overwhelmed with that role of keeping their kid alive. And I'm like, well, at the end of the day, if they're alive, like you did a great job to me, right? Like, but there is a level of worry and anxiety that mothers will have because their essential responsibility is make sure that that kid is alive at the end of the day, like breathing, eating, has a roof over their head. Like there's responsibilities there that sisters just aren't called to, right? Sisters are not responsible for your life. Okay. As the oldest, I fall into that trap all the time that I'm responsible for the livelihoods of my siblings, and I'm not. I'm called to love and sympathize and empathize and bring unity, but I'm not responsible for their life. Another part of this is accountability. Like children are accountable to their parents or to the caretakers in their life, but siblings aren't accountable to you. Like your sister, unless they're an accountability partner, right? Okay, like don't use my words against me in this moment. Siblings aren't accountable to you. I mean, they literally owe you nothing. But I don't think we have enough awareness surrounding that because it's so easy to think, well, if I've done this for you, for my sister, right, then there needs to be a level of responsiveness, right, or aka accountability to what I've now given you, either emotionally, physically, like it could be financially, any of those things. But that's actually not true, right? There's no accountability that your sister owes you. They don't owe you anything. If it's done, it's because there's a mutual trust that you guys built between the two of you, and you decided to do that, and they've decided to respond. I hope I'm making sense there. If I'm not, you can write me afterwards and tell me. All right. Discipline and correction. Let's talk about that. So mothers do it, they discipline and correct because there's a need to protect their young, right? Their responsibility is to make sure that this person lives, right? But they live to grow into a person who can live without them one day, right? It's like a form of protection. Discipline is a form, and correction is a form of protection. our discipline and correction for our sisters should be out of a desire to be deeper in community and connection with one another. I don't really care what you do after me, but while with me, I want you to live a healthy and happy life, right? And so discipline and correction should come as a form of encouragement from our sisters. It's not a form of protection, right? Even though it can protect your sister, that shouldn't be our underlying goal, is that we are protecting them, because then that creates this false sense of responsibility that, if we go back to what I said initially, we're not responsible for the lives of our sisters, right? I want you to live. I want you to be happy and healthy. I want you to thrive in this world and in this lifetime, but I am not responsible for you. Right. And so when we discipline and correct out of this desire to be more than what we actually are, a mother versus a sister, we create this false sense of responsibility on ourselves. It's just heavy. It gets heavy. And that's why sisterhood should be light, but becomes heavy. Right. All right. So mothers lead from a place of authority and experience. It's from a place of certitude. Like, you need to hear me. Right? It's rearing up of a child. Sisters should come with a meek spirit. Like, we should offer knowledge and resources and wisdom just because we're walking alongside someone and it makes sense to share what we already know. I would like for you to listen to me, but if you don't, it's okay too, right? Because I'm not coming from this place of authority over you. Sisters, we are not over our sisters, right? It doesn't matter if you have a 10-year marriage and you're speaking to a woman who's been married for 5 years, or you're speaking to a single, which that is another topic too. Y'all can hit Jen, my girl Jen Trotter, up for some information, or some what it looks like to walk out your singleness, and how that can be misconstrued when married women and single women, try to put some type of authority based on experience over one another. It's growing alongside one another, right? So I'm not, because I have a higher position than you, or at least what it would appear to be, I can't, I'm not, there's no authority that comes with sisterhood, other than just the authority that you have to walk alongside one another, right? So your sister shouldn't feel powerless when she's in a room with you, right? When we're in a community with one another. Because what that does is, now when that false sense of authority is brought into the equation, now this person is looking to you for all of the answers, and they are going to suck the life out of you. Again, sisterhood should not feel heavy. It shouldn't feel depleted. You should feel encouraged. You should feel uplifted. You should feel motivated. You should feel energized. You should feel powerful when in a healthy community of sisters, because we're growing alongside one another and there's no authority that I have over you. So you're not looking to me versus looking to the other places that you should be looking for. God, if there's a healthy mother in that role to your mother, right? There's just a spiritual mother, right? Sisters don't take on the role of authority in your life. Authority comes from those who give life. Okay. So there's a place of refuge and acceptance that mothers are coming from. The boundary for sisters is that we don't become this place of refuge for other women. We literally are we will come and sit in it with them. That's what Come Sis with me is playing on, is that I will come and sit in the mess with you so that you're not alone. Mothers, right? because they are this place of refuge and acceptance. Have you ever heard a mother hear the cry of their child, a healthy, let me disclaim, a healthy mother, woman in the role of mother, um, hear a call for their child, a help call for their child, and not run and do absolutely everything in their power to try to save and be this refuge and this place of unadulterated acceptance for their child? I haven't. I literally watch my mother be that to my youngest sibling, and I watch my father be that for my youngest sibling, like, or for all his kids. I mean, he would do it for all of them. My mom would too. But there's this place, this they have no boundary when it comes to their child in distress. Sisters, know this: you can only be so much, you can only be as much to your sister as you have room for. You can't pull some extra space out of the air because your friend has again, or your sister has again fallen into this place that they need to climb out of. If you don't have it financially, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, I'm not telling you to deplete what you have to run and be this refuge. That's where we get in trouble and try to be someone's mother versus someone's sister. Sis, I ain't got it, and I'm sorry that you're going through this. I just want you to know that you're not alone, right? And maybe I don't have it physically or financially to give you, but I can give you this word of encouragement. And that's for, know this, sisters, that's for natural and spiritual alike, okay? Sometimes the spiritual connection is stronger, but natural sisters and spiritual sisters, those siblings, you are not a mother to them. So you don't have to give everything that you have to be this place of refuge and to be this constant place of acceptance. If you don't have it to give, you don't have it to give. Make that a boundary, that you're going to be sister and not mom. Sisterhood should encourage and influence all the other relationships in the life of a woman. I really came up with that in just writing out this outline for this podcast, and anyone that you're connected to, because I realized that me becoming a better sister and understanding the role of sisterhood in my life has influenced every other relationship in my life. My marriage with my husband also has influenced the men in my life to create a stronger brotherhood, right? That's what sisterhood should actually do, is influence a brotherhood too, that the men would also come together and find what unifies them and builds them up, so that they don't so that they do become great husbands to great women who understand, like, sometimes we go through stuff, right? It should influence your parenthood, right? It should also influence the relationships that you have with your coworkers, or if you're an entrepreneur, the people who you are responsible to as far as financially and providing them with things, right? To kind of close out this section on mothers versus sisters, I really couldn't find any other way to describe it but to think of a mother as, for women in the life of a woman, that the house is overall built by parents. Like, there's a foundation. Obviously, God had created all of this, but the house is built by parents. They are like the foundation. The house, no, God is the foundation. The house is the parents, right? The house, okay? And then think of sisters as the interior, like the decorations that go into the home. They are the affirmation to the foundation. So you can live in a house with no furniture, but it's comfortable. It's not comfortable and it's boring because there's no TV, but you're protected from the elements. So you're not hitting, you're not getting wet. You're not freezing cold. You're not burning up. At least, like, that's the best analogy that I can think of, without, because defining each role is really hard. But mothers are the house. Okay. Sisters are the furniture. and all the interior things that go inside of the house that make it comfortable. So when I'm talking about the difference between the two, because they're both multifaceted, complex, and they intersect often, the easiest way for you to recognize if you're being a mother versus a sister is, are you trying to be someone's house and protect them from all the elements of the world, or are you just trying to be an accessory, or a piece of furniture, or the interior that will just make their life in their home more comfortable, less boring? I hope that makes sense. I hope that resonates with you too. Because as we go on this journey together and Come Sis with me, it's going to be important that you check yourself. We check ourselves often so we can stay a consistent, constant safe space for one another without overstepping boundaries, like becoming someone's, or trying to make someone a friend who is supposed to just be your sister, or mothering someone who just needs you to be their sister. Yeah. So that's it for this Friday. I pray that I can catch you guys next week, same place, same time. And if you don't already know, you've got this, sis. See you guys next time. Have a good Friday. Have a great weekend.